July.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody, and we'll start call the February meeting, the Wyoming County Industrial Development Agency to order. We do have a quorum, and the first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from January 13th, 2022. I'd like to make a motion. Motion by Jim, second.
Okay.
Motion's by Vicki, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next, review the financial reports and to approve them for January 2022. Robin,
Yeah.
anything noteworthy?
Noteworthy, we had just a typical month. We had a few fees earned, a little bit of bank interest earned. And as far as our expenses, we paid the first quarter lease expense for the building and for our rooms in the building. Some number of publication subscriptions and just a typical monthly expenses for the payroll. We ended up the month with $1,096,740 in the cash on hand and $1,515,547 in CDs. Yes,
Okay. Anybody have any questions? So I'd like to make a motion to approve the financial report.
I will move to approve financial report.
Motion by Supervisor Ryan. Mr. Rakowski, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Next, the action item. Jim?
Yes, Mr. Vice Chairman, the first item in your packet is the Orangeville Energy Storage Project. We are asking the board to consider an amendment via a resolution that's in the board packet to amend the pilot agreement with Orangeville Energy. For years and years and years, we had in our pilot agreements the annual escalator clause for increasing for the pilot payments, and it's always been 2.5% or the consumer price index, whichever was the greater. Well, this, the way the things are going today, the consumer price index is at 7% currently. And it's going to be prohibitive on the part of the project in order to do this project as it was written. So the company is asking us just to remove the consumer price language out of the pilot agreement and just go with the 2.5 escalator. They can deal with that.
Okay. Any problem? Motion by Nikki. Second, all in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Next, Jim?
Yeah, just one other point on the Orangeville. We are trying to get this project closed by March 1st, and the council's been working on it diligently. It's probably going to come right down to the wire. We're trying to get it in before the March 1st taxable status date to save them a year on their pilot. The next item, 3B, is a 1-year extension request on sales tax for the Niagara solar project. This is the one in Bennington. They have, he has an email in here, and the delay in getting the project moving forward has been, they haven't received any of the energy credits that NYSERDA sends out to bid. So subsequently, it has delayed the development of the project. So they have asked for an extension of the sales tax until February 28th of next year, which would be a 1-year request.
Is it unusual for them to have difficulty selling those tax credits?
It's, they're not very experienced. This is a large energy company. This is Duke Energy out of like North Carolina. They're huge. But they've never really dealt with NYSERDA and this whole requirement to go out and try to secure some of those energy credits. And so subsequently, what they're doing now is they're hooking up with a project that this board already approved, and that's the Sunview High East solar project, because they have been successful in securing those bids. So I think that's the direction where they're heading now. But the 1 year would help them tremendously.
Okay. So,
Make a motion.
motion by Jim,
Second.
second by the supervisor, all in favor. Opposed? Carried. All right, Jim.
The next one is a request again for sales tax extension. This is from Marguerite Wells from Energy. This is in regards to the Java Energy Storage Project in which they were going to put 12 megawatts of storage on the tail end of a electrical district where there's some brownouts and blackouts and things of that nature. The project was supposed to be done in conjunction with NICEAG. They have really gone toe to toe with NICEAG about getting this thing off the ground. And so I think what they're trying to do now is kind of buy out NICEAG's interest in the project, and Energy wants to take this on all by themselves. And Doug, you know Marguerite as well as anybody because you've had dealings with her. She's a go-getter.
Oh, yeah.
She's going to get something done. She says she's going to. She
Yep.
will. So we're asking for a sales, or they're asking for another extension on sales tax to March 31st of next year.
Okay, any questions? Someone like to make the motion?
Move it.
Supervisor,
Second.
second by Nikki, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Greenlight.
All right, this is the meeting of sales tax exemption. The next item is Dream Lake. The board approved this project last year. They've been delayed by winter primarily, also some delays in materials. Every construction project I know of has been delayed by materials. So she has asked for a 1-year extension on her sales tax as well to March 31st of 2023.
This one closed, by the way. So we have closed down this project as opposed to the prior to renewable energy project.
All right, got a motion by Jim,
I'll second.
supervisor. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. All right, Letchworth.
Letchworth Valley Campground Resort. As the board may recall, there was also a loan done with this project through the BAC, a $200,000 loan, which is still in the process of working towards closing along with the Bank of Castile and Pursuit Lending. That's part of the project. This part is the pilot part, and so the company is asking for assistance with that. They're projecting, everyone's familiar with the project. Mr. Croetti came in and did a presentation about how he's going to convert that former church camp into a public resort and campground. He's going to invest almost $1.3 million in making that conversion. So I think, like I said, the board is very familiar with the project. In your packet is a breakdown of the cost benefit analysis that we have done. And it breaks out the incentives to be in the neighborhood of $215,000 for property tax exemptions, almost $50,000 for sales tax exemptions, and then a mortgage recording tax exemption of $15,000. So after a discounted 2% factor, we're looking at probably in the neighborhood of $256,000 in estimated benefits for this project. Also in your packet are portions of the original application. It's a pretty good size campground. We've seen the plans, they look really good. So what we've been waiting on has been the approval at the local level for permits and the environmental review completion by the town planning board. They met last night and this project has secured all the local approvals. So they, in the packet is the full environmental assessment form, parts 1, 2, and 3, as well as the negative declaration on the environmental review on the project. One of the other things we had to do with this project, because the project is needing more than $100,000 in benefits, was to do a public hearing. So in your board packet, you will also find a copy of the public hearing minutes. And I think, Robin, you and I were the only ones there, right? Or other than Sandy King.
Sandy King, yeah, Supervisor King was there.
So there weren't really any comments. Obviously, Sandy said some positive things, but so the public hearing minutes are in your packet as well. So We essentially have all we need. We have a complete application. We have a complete seeker review that's been done by the planning board. We did the cost benefit analysis, the public hearing. So I think everything's in order for the board to give consideration of providing IDA benefits to this project.
Okay. Jim, I'm just look through this quickly. How many buildings are on this? Wasn't there a big, a larger building, like a conference center or something like that?
Yeah, I've been over there, back about a year ago, and the snow was just as deep as it is now.
Yeah,
But there is a small kind of, smaller, I would say, event center that they have that probably can hold probably 100 people.
Yeah.
There's a full kitchen in there and all those sorts of things. And then there's obviously various cabins throughout the project, or this project site.
is that gonna be part of the campground and the cabins?
Yeah, he's gonna add some cabins, he's gonna add some more, he's gonna put in a spot for the recreational vehicles, the big one where they drive right in and all those sorts of things, so.
Yeah, I've been back there years and years ago, and it was a pretty nice place, and nice buildings.
It's a beautiful spot, there's a really large lake there.
Yeah.
Everything kind of just rolls right in, pours the water, and it's a really nice spot.
When do they anticipate being complete, the project?
Ideally, he'd like to start getting campers in May. I mean, he's gonna kind of phase it in over time. But the first phase is to immediately start bringing some revenue in. He needs to do that because he's been doing the planning and permitting and all that stuff for about a year and a half now. And he's been spending a lot of time and money on doing that, and he needs to get some cash flow.
Sure.
He's a real nice guy. He even participated in the parade at the county fair, throwing candy and things of that nature. So.
He had offered if the Arts Council was going to be over there, I think he offered to have used part of that parking over there too, and that was a while ago.
Yeah. He was blown away by the parade over there because he thought this little place, where they had a couple fire trucks or whatever. It was the Monday Grand Parade, and it goes for what's it start 7 o'clock till dark.
Yeah.
And dark then is like 9 o'clock. So.
Yeah. Okay. So, any other discussion? Someone like to make a motion to approve this request?
I think it's a great addition.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Good fed tax and sales tax generator.
Oh, yeah. All right, Jim, your report.
All right. A lot of papers. Just some quick updates on projects that we're still working on. The Morton Salt project. They are going through their permitting process. It looks very likely that we'll have them on the agenda for the March meeting. That's for the 30,000 square foot warehouse that they're building. Select Door over North Java, we did the public hearing for that project. And that building expansion project also is going through the permitting process for the 7,000 square feet that they're going to be putting on because of the growth they've realized during the pandemic. And they will probably be on the April 14th board meeting agenda. Empire Distributing in Arcade, that is still a work in progress. They're talking about doing a 60,000 square foot warehouse along with some additional office space. It's going to be a $5.5 million capital investment. They're going to create 10 to 15 new jobs with that. And one of the things they're wrestling with now is how to deal with the fire suppression system that's going to be required for the new warehouse. Right now they're on well water because they're located solely in the town of Arcade. And so they're weighing their options of doing something privately with a well and a reservoir versus having the municipal water, which is less than 1,200 feet, run to the building, which would cover the fire suppression needs. And so I've been hooking them up with the village and looking at different options. And I think what they're going to go with is probably the village is going to let the company use their own contractor to install the water line, which probably would save a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I think that's where they're gonna head. And the proposed cost for doing the water extension is like $230,000. They got a drill under the Niagara Railroad, which throws another little $30,000 price tag at it as well. But I think that's where they're gonna go. They're still working on the application, but it's still moving forward. Sticking in arcade, I met with two gentlemen that are very interested in buying the former Hummingbird Yo-Yo factory on Water Street in Arcade. It's been vacant and decaying for about 15 years, Doug.
Yeah, it's too bad that, you know, the roof is gone and the windows are all knocked out. I mean, the building, it was all matched lumber, wood floors, 3 stories, freight elevator, and similar to this building. And I can't imagine what it looks like now, so.
They, these two gentlemen, they both live in Wyoming County. One lives in Jayville and one lives at Jayville Lake. They're contractors by trade, and they claim they have some financial backing to do this project. And they've had an engineer come in and do an assessment on the integrity of the building. They say it looks pretty good with the exception of one wall that would require some stabilization. It went really quiet on me for about the last month, and so Donna Sheener, who's the new mayor over there, she's very aggressive, and she's been staying on these guys. And so we had a conversation 2 days ago about this project, and they're still moving forward with it. And they just wanted to assure me that they haven't gone quiet, but they had bitten off a little more than they could chew, I think, with this project.
Oh, yeah.
They're doing their due diligence on it. But they're talking about converting it as an adaptive reuse project, making 20 apartments out of it, and then having 6,000 square feet of commercial space in it. So it would be an eligible project for the IDA to consider supporting. A couple other quick things. Hillcrest Industries, we did close on their project yesterday. The warehouse project is done, and so that one's in the books. We still trying to squeeze 2 more in before the March 1st taxable status date. The original energy project that we talked about, but also Kelly's garage. So we should be able to get both of these in, I hope. And then some other quick items. We talked about Alley Cat at our last meeting about whether or not that project was ever going to move forward. The very next day, I got a request from Alley Cat. They reached out to us and said, could you guys get us that sales tax exemption thing issued, because we're ready to roll. And I guess they want to start clearing some land and all those sorts of things. So Kevin jumped in and we did their project agreement and the resolution. We got it off to the company. Once we get that back, we can issue their sales tax. So that's kind of where we
Can I
are.
start counting that money then, Jim?
It's in the bank.
All right, thank you, Jim. Any other questions for Jim on his report? Any other business? Next meeting is March 10th. Have a motion to adjourn. Second, motion made, seconded to adjourn. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Now we have to change TV channels, right?